Yeah. See, we building something special straight from scratch. Always bringing awareness to you, cause we always got your back. Self-improvement is the emphasis, patience is an element. Now is the time for you to unlock your potential excellence.
To all the good people all around the world, you are tuning in, listening to, observing, consuming, retaining, eating, drinking, watching, virtualizing the best podcast in the world today. And we are just getting started. Welcome to episode 19 of Unlocking Your Potential Excellence. Can I get a round of applause one time? All the applauses. Yes, I can feel all of the cheers and the admirations. It's been a long time since we did this. It's been since 2020, but we're back and better than ever because once again, my name is Brian. Tevin
Indeed,
is
yeah.
here. Is here with us again, and this podcast is all about bringing awareness to various topics and issues to help guide, educate, and everyone on finding the potential to be excellent in this world. And now, without further ado, we are joined by the amazing, the lovely Miss Industrious. Please give it up for Miss Industrious, our guest tonight. Please tell the to all the good people a little bit about yourself, what you do for a living, so they can kind of understand you on a deeper level.
Okay, thank you for the introduction. So I'm a student right now. I work at so I'm a student and also work from home. Um I don't know why I'm blanking right now, but I'm nervous. This is my first time doing something like this, and I just want to thank you guys for collabing with me first of all. So yeah, I'm studying social work. I am a fitness fanatic. I love working out. I love motivating people, whether that's working out or just being the best that you could be. So that's why I am pursuing social work. I want to help people from going from where they are to where they want to be in life. That's my logo, like that's my slogan or whatever, like saying. Yeah, that's a little bit about me. I have a lot more that I can go into. Like I love traveling and things like that, but mainly I love being a motivator and a leader.
Awesome, amazing. So we like to play this little game on potential excellence on our podcast, so the audience gets to know you on an even deeper level. Um, so throughout your days, people ask you, "How are you doing?" You maybe say, "Good, I'm okay." You may go a little bit in depth, but not too much. But like a lot of people like to hide a lot of like deep stuff going on in their day-to-day life that they like to keep to themselves. But we want everyone to be open and just feel free to share their own stories on this podcast. So
Right.
we first like to start off by doing this game called Roses and Thorns, where we like to share one good thing about our days recently and one bad thing about our days recently. So anything that you can think of that's happened, good or bad, your rose and your thorn.
My rose is being content with the season I'm in and making the best out of it.
Mm,
Why I say that is because I recently found a way to get comfortable with this transition of being in my home. Like working out at home is very difficult for me. I'm a very outdoor person, and I'm a very social person. I love socializing. So my rose would be just being like, being able to navigate this time, being able to adapt. That's my rose really. My thorn is maybe I'm getting too comfortable with it because I finally figured out how to work out in the morning and then get back to my schoolwork, and then I just have a perfect schedule, and I'm starting to like being in my house, which is so weird. Like when friends tell me, "Oh, let's hang out," or like let's do something, I'll just say no. Like I'm just getting comfortable being on my own, and I'm getting a lot done. I'm posting out more episodes for my podcast than I was doing before. So it's crazy.
yeah, yeah, I can understand that. Like you just get into that rhythm of just being on your own, just getting into that grind of just recognizing, all this work that you didn't know you had and all these opportunities that you just want to take advantage of. I totally understand that. So we also like to break this down into the 5 aspects of life. Another way for the audience to get to know you. Tevin and I kind of felt that this is like, the main part, your foundation of living. So the first thing is financial. So are you spending more than you're making? Are you doing your best to make sure you're not spending too many things that you don't need to and saving what you need to save? So on a rate of 1 to 3, meaning that you're not really doing it on a daily basis, 2 means you're sometimes doing it, 3 means you're doing it on a continuous basis. How are you managing your finances and making sure you are progressing in the best way you need to progress in financially?
I would say 1 as in like I'm not spending a lot. I'm actually like the money I'm making, I'm actually holding more of it than I used to because I'm not
Okay.
big on online shopping. Like I'm not.
Okay.
You want to know how I'm doing with finances? Like how do I?
So, oh, so 1 to 3. So 1 meaning like it's like you're spending a lot of money. You're not taking care of your finances at all. 2
Oh,
means you're
what?
sometimes doing it. 3 means is like the best, where
Uh,
that's what we're trying to aim to. So like you're saving, you're managing your expense, you're managing your expenses and all that good stuff.
so then 3.
All right. Amazing,
Yeah.
amazing. Emotional. So this is where we get into friendships and relationships and family ships. Are you, around those toxic people? So that's a 1. Are you somewhat around good people? Those real ones, good friends, or do you have to cut some people off? So how's your relationships with your friends and family between
That's
one to
actually
three?
such a good question. I don't think I can give you like a definite answer, like because some relationships are just like they're amazing, and then like one
Mhm.
relationship is kind of like a little weak right now. Well, 2
Yeah.
relationships. So
So
I
that
don't
would
know
be
how
like
to
a
explain
2.
that. Like it just happens like that. Like you realize the people that will reach out to you during these times, and then you realize the people that you actually have to be doing the most of the work of reaching out to them,
Yeah.
right? So it's really just a balance right now, and I feel like I'm not around toxic people.
Mm.
I don't know toxic people.
So like a 2 to 3, like a 2.5 ish. That's
Mm,
what we're kind of thinking of.
okay, 2.5. 2.5.
All right. Mental. So mental wellness, mental health is a big part of this life that we live. So when
Mm-hmm.
someone comes to you and gives you, let's say, constructive criticism or just straight up criticism, negativity, how do you handle that? How do you process that? So are you, able to take in all of this words that come from many different people or from social media, and are you able to apply it in the best and positive way, in the most proactive way, or are you just too hard on yourself, too critical on yourself, lowering your self-esteem constantly? Between 1 to 3, you can use decimals if you need to.
But you said negative feedback too,
So
right?
like all kinds of feedback,
Feedback,
because anyone
all
can
kinds of
take
feedback.
constructive criticism and somehow turn that into negative and hateful.
Right. I think I'm dealing with it. I think I'm on the high end of the scale. Like I rather hear constructive feedback so I know how to grow. Like I
Mm-hmm.
want to get better. So in order to
Mm-hmm.
get better is like being able to be self-aware. I'm already
Yep.
self-aware. Like whatever people tell me, it's funny. They'll be like, "Yeah, you have to do this or do that." I already know
Yeah.
that because I'll always go back and look at my work type of thing. I reflect. So I'm a huge like I do journals and things like that. So I reflect. So yeah, I think I'm on the positive side. So I'd say 3.
Awesome. So moving on to physical. So there's so many things to physical: skin care, hair care, body care, style, clothing, all of these things that we kind of invest into our one and only body, our temple. So how well are you taking care of it? Are you feeding it with a bunch of bad stuff over time? Are you watching what you're eating? Are you watching what you're putting on your body and all that good stuff? So how are you managing that process between one
Um,
to three?
pretty good. 3, 3. Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you
right to
want
the
to know
board.
why or just 3? Is that good?
Just 3, yeah, because we're gonna get even deeper into it in the rest of this
Okay.
podcast.
Okay.
Spiritual, so we don't need to get too deep into the religions because everyone has different religions in this world, but everyone has faith. Everyone has a belief that they believe into to make sure that they are optimistic and focused and staying consistent. Something I need to work on, staying consistent into the day-to-day grind. So how are you managing your faith and your belief specifically to get to where you need to be?
10.
She broke the scale. Why does everyone do that? Everyone breaks the scale. But that's good. That's good though. That's good. But yeah, so now that the audience knows a little bit more about who you are as a person, Tevin, please take it away with today's podcast.
Okay. Thank you, Brian. Thank you for that wonderful intro. So today's podcast is all about breaking down the process of discovering oneself and figuring out the small changes that one can make on a day-to-day basis to help them discover their potential excellence. So Brian, you can start us off with a set of questions.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you, Tevin. So the plan for every question is to be with respect to the FEMPS, the five aspects of life that we kind of just ran down with you. So now you're a little bit more familiar about what we're kind of basing the podcast on with like the questions and the flow of it. So before we dive deep into how one can discover themselves, you know, the FEMPS, the five aspects of life, um, the five aspects of life are really beneficial when you really know yourself, when you can really like start the process of applying it and practicing it and just strengthening it, and like going to the gym. You know the workouts you do, you know what you have to do, you just go there. But when you go to the gym and you have like no idea what to do, what to lift, you know, who to talk to, when you don't even have an identity of who you are,
Right.
how does one start that process of finding who they are, finding their identity? So what advice do you have on helping one start the process of finding their identity, finding their true meaning to life in this one and only life that they get?
First, write down who you are. Who do you think you are? So that's a good step to know who you think you are. And don't base it off of your job. Our jobs are constantly changing. Don't base it off of things that are constantly changing. Base it off of things that are remaining the same. They're constant. And your ideas are built up of like your system of beliefs. What do you believe in? If I say, you know what, I believe in God, so I'm a child of God. So that right there, that's my identity, right? When it comes to the working out and you just don't know where to start, you need to build that identity. Because you're going to the gym and you don't know where to start is because the fact that you haven't built that identity for yourself. You're going in there thinking, this isn't really me. I want to be a fit person, but this isn't my environment. And that's why you feel like a fish out of water. So you have to start with just building that identity. Just showing up is actually more than enough. If you just show up daily, you're building that identity by solidifying the fact that I'm here daily. And then when people get to know you, like you start going to the gym and they're like, hey, Tiana, how are you? They're talking to you. That's when you're building that identity and you're building relationships that solidify that, because it's all about your environment and like who's in it, right? If you're building relationships with people that are fit, you're gonna naturally want to be like the people you're around, and naturally you will end up mimicking their lifestyle. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. I completely agree with that. Tevin, you have any one, two thoughts on that?
No, I completely agree as well. I was just more so wondering, how would you recommend Tiana? Because no one cares about Brian's opinion. We've heard from Brian too much this podcast. So, how would you recommend kind of backing up and finding yourself? And let's just say it's for our demographic, the late teenager, early 20s, just starting off their life. How would you go about finding that? Just from like, let's say you're starting from ground zero. You don't really know that much about yourself, and you don't really have any belief set. Even already kind of has a belief set, it's kind of impossible. But you don't really know what to grasp on in your head. You know, like where do you start from?
You can look at your loved ones. Your parents know you better than
Mm.
yourself. Um, if you're spiritual and you have like a relationship with God, you can read the word more and get to know who you are in God,
Mm.
right? I feel like knowing the fact that you're made in God's image and knowing the fact that you are made on purpose for a purpose is better than I'm just here. So asking your parents, asking your loved ones, asking your close friends, not friends that you just, talk to here and there, but asking people that really know you, they're going to start to show you who you are by your, and then you looking at your daily habits shows you who you are. If you're the type of person that plays video games constantly, then that's who you are, because you're doing that constantly. If you're the type of person that is drawing and you love to draw, then that's who you are. You just look at what you're passionate about. What do you love the most? Do you love working out? Like, you just have to look at what you're passionate about, because even if you're starting from ground zero, we all have a desire, we all have something that is within us that we like to do. Does that make sense? kind of.
Yeah. I like that point of just figuring out just what you've been doing on the past like couple years of your life. Like if you look back at it and you're like, I've been playing a lot of video games lately. Maybe I should kind of get into this kind of job profession. Like I didn't really think about it like that, but indirectly some people do that. They just think about what they really love to do based on what they've
Yeah.
just done for the rest of their life, and they
Mhm.
just start doing that from now on, which is amazing. And I really do appreciate that advice, and hopefully the good people around the world can appreciate that as well.
Mhm.
Moving forward, what advice do you have in helping one understand how they could like increase their profits while keeping their expenses low for this like new revamped life? So, for example, let's say someone went on their self improvement journey, and they're figuring out what they wanted to do, who they wanted to be, and they decided that, you know what, I'm going to be a basketball player because I've been playing basketball my whole life. Let's just make this a thing. And now they need to start the process of figuring out, okay, how much I need to pay for stuff. Do I need to go to like a basketball gym or camp or all these things basketball players
Mhm.
do to, be basketball players, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Equipment, workout equipment, all these stuff.
Mhm.
So it's easy to say, okay, I'm excited to get into this new life. So I'm gonna just pay all these things. And before you know it, you're in debt, all these money because you're getting excited too much, but
Yeah.
you're not really realizing that to start this new life, you do have to pay a lot of stuff initially, but you have to start figuring out how to get money in return. So how does one start this new process of living this revamped life and being okay with paying a lot of things initially, but also figuring out the steps on making money in return?
Okay. First I would say get a mentor or talk to your bank. The people at my bank, they're my BFFs. Like I talk to my financial advisors and I ask them, okay, so how can I save more? How can I make more? You have to educate yourself. And I feel like the reason why people are scared when it comes to money, it's a very sensitive topic because it's emotional, right? So people get really scared because they're like, I never had a lot of money or I don't know how to save money. And it becomes like an emotional thing. I feel like you have to detach your emotions from it sometimes. I know that's hard to do, but like even when I was trading on the market, my mentor told me like, you can't have your emotions there when you're trading. You can't, because then you're just going to be moving out of fear. Like, oh, the market looks like it's moving down or it's doing something. You're going to be moving out of fear. You don't want to ever move out of fear when it comes to your finances. You want to do the best decision for yourself for the long run. And I feel like younger people, we kind of live for today. And when you live for today, it's beautiful in a sense. Like, there are people that know how to be free and they just know how to like have fun in the moment, but you got to think about the long run. So you need to think about long-term investments. So I would definitely say go into your bank and talk to your financial advisors and make a plan. Make a plan, because if you don't have a plan, you're gonna plan to fail. You need a plan for success. So you either plan
Facts.
for success or you just
Facts. Tevin, any points on that?
No, I had nothing. That was perfect.
Yeah, yeah. So moving forward to the emotional part, the friendship, the relationship part about your FEMS, what advice do you have in helping one become more aware of those, real friends that will actually support you in everything that you do? Because when you start that new life, you're kind of letting go a large portion of your old self, which means a large portion of your old friends may disappear with that too. So
Mm.
it's especially when you're like, let's say an adult or high school and you're just trying to figure out yourself and all that good stuff. How do you kind of accept, let's say, letting go of those, let's say, longtime best friends, or let's say 10 years, 5 years,
Mm.
to start this new process of becoming the person that you want to be? And how do you figure out to find those real friends that will actually be with you from beginning to end when you're just trying to figure out this new life of yours?
Okay, you asked me like many questions.
Yeah,
I'm
sorry.
gonna just,
So how
I'm
does
gonna just
one
focus
figure
on.
out?
I'm gonna focus
Yeah.
on one of them though, because one did stick out to me. I'm gonna extract that one, and the rest you might have
Mm-hmm.
to be. So the one that stuck out to me was, how do you let go? How do you
Mm-hmm.
let go of those long-term relationships that are no longer benefiting you? That is key. This is the most important question out of all the questions that you asked me, because of the fact that we get attached to our friends. We get attached because we create bonds. How do you break a bond that took such a long time to build? That is a really important question. And you know what? Actually, I had to, for myself personally, learn how to do that this year. I was like realizing that this friendship is toxic and it's not doing anything for me. So how am I going to let that go? Don't think about the cutoff culture. Don't think of, you know what, I just need to cut them off and just like step away. I think that's too abrupt. I feel like what you need to do is just back away, slowly back away. And you need to learn how to feed into your other relationships. I was feeding so much time into this one relationship, I forgot about my other friends. And I think that's key. I think we get caught up in certain relationships. We forget about our other friends. And you never know what your friends are going through. It's good to check up on your friends. I know it's not easy, but it's a lot better to focus on, okay, today I'm going to talk to my girl Lexi, or tomorrow I'm going to talk to my friend Calgie. I'm going to, you know, make a plan to call my friends. Call your other friends. And I don't say text, because calling is better because you want to connect. You want to have that bond. I feel like we're getting to that point where we have a lot of social media outlets, but we don't know how to be social on it. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's easy to get into those group chats and send a lot of like memes and all these fun stuff
Mhm.
on a daily basis. And I'm guilty of this too. Like just to feel like, oh yeah, we're already talking. Yeah. Oh, when's the last time you talked to this person? Oh yeah, I talked to this person yesterday when I sent that meme to
Yeah.
him from Instagram. But when's the last time you talked to this person,
Talk to them.
FaceTime them, called them? And I'm
Yeah.
like, ooh, it's been maybe a couple of years, maybe a couple of months since then. So yeah, I
Mhm.
totally understand that. So what? Yeah, I kind of asked you a lot of questions looking back at it. So now that we're kind of looking back at letting go of those like longtime friends that you kind of want to let go from and kind of focus on yourself and focus on a different group of friends. When you're approaching this new lifestyle you're living, and it's different from your old life, and you want to start talking and associating with a different group of people so you guys can grow together, how does one kind of figure out who to hang out with when you don't know if they're like with you because they support you and they want to stay with you, or they're with you because they kind of want to leech off of you in any sort of way because they see your vision, they see your dreams. So maybe they're like, oh yeah, I want to support this person because I really support what they do, or I just want to support this person because I just want to leech off of them.
I feel like you have to give people the benefit of the doubt, because really, how are you going to know that they're going to leech off of you unless they actually start leeching off of you? And when they do, you will know. The people that like fill you up and the people that make you laugh and the people that motivate you, you will know by the feeling that you get when you're around them. You have to pay attention, be self-aware. How do you feel when you're around this person? Do you feel like they're filling you up, or do you feel empty? Do you feel like you're constantly pouring into them? You can't fill from an empty cup. You have to have a relationship that's going to reciprocate what you're giving. If you're giving a lot of love and they don't know how to do that, then I wouldn't say, okay, this person's a bad person. There's two types of people in the world. There's there's I just want to make sure I get my wording right, because wording's everything. There are givers and then there's receivers. The givers, they give to people. They love to give. They're cheerful givers. Then there's the receivers. They don't know how to give, but they know how to get. They know how to get their blessings. They will get their blessings. So there's two types of people in the world. You just need to know how to respond to those two people, right? We need different personality traits. We need to learn, not everybody is like you, and you can't go into a relationship expecting that, um, expecting things, having high expectations for people, because not everybody's like you. Not everybody's raised like you, and they don't think like you. So yeah, I would say just knowing the feeling. Going back to your question, just knowing like, what feeling do you get by this person? Do you actually feel supported? 100%. You will know who your supporters are. You know the cheerleaders, and you will know the people that are like, nah, you can't do it. You know it. It's different. It's a vibe.
Yeah, that ongoing reflection of just how much have I gave to this person recently? How much have I received from this person recently? Not like a
Yeah.
competition, like okay, I gave you this week, so next week
Oh
you
yeah.
give me that next week. But
Yeah.
just realizing how much energy am I putting into this kind of relationship, So I just know where my place is and who I should really be hanging around with on a daily basis. Maybe I can hang out with you like once a month, but not every day. Because if I hang out with you every day, it's just too much for my soul, and and I'll just be draining myself.
Exactly.
Yeah. So before we move on to mental, anything you want to say, Tevin? Any
Um,
questions,
I kind
thoughts?
of go back a bit because this
Okay, yeah, for sure.
is that that I need to personally improve on in terms of I don't really know when to like call people. You know what I mean? Like
Oh,
when people, I don't really do that. I'm more so of the I see them post a story, so I know they're alive, so they're good type of thing. That's like my thought process. I know it's not necessarily the most emotionally intelligent thought process, but that's more so like my line of thinking. I never really know when to kind of check up on people because then I always get the fear of like, what if I try to check up on them, then they're busy, I'm not trying to bother nobody. It's more so of like, and plus,
Mm,
that's why I try not to call anybody unless I have a reason. Because
yeah.
when I have a reason to call you, I'm like, okay, I'm serving two purposes. I'm checking up on you, you're good, and then I'm gonna fulfill my reasoning at the same time. It's not really like a waste of time for both parties because I would feel bad. And I don't really require that from other people. You know what I mean? Like I don't really get offended or care if people don't check up on me often because I know I'm good. I'm just hoping that they're good as well. I don't know. I don't know. But like how would I go about improving that?
Mm, it's because you feel like you don't need it, and you also feel like you're bothering, like you don't want to bother them.
Yeah.
Like that, just changing your thought process, um, showing gratitude to your relationships actually builds your relationships. Letting them know, you know what, like I've been thinking about it. We've been friends for a minute, and I just want to reach out to you and let you know, like, I was thinking about you. I want to know how you're doing. Doing stuff like that, you never know how it's going to change people's day. Like, you know what I mean? You just never know. And you also don't know what they're going through. Just because they're posting online doesn't mean that they're happy. You know what I mean? The people could be going through depression, things like that. And that's why when we lose loved ones to like suicide and things like that, we think, how did this happen? It's because like we don't really check up on people the way we should. I'm not saying blame yourself, but I'm saying that, you can miss the signs if you're just sending memes. You want to check up on their mental state. Like you said, it's an emotional intelligent thing. You have to read between the lines. Someone can tell you, oh, I'm good, don't worry about me. But you have to read between the lines. Do
Mhm.
you know what I mean? Like you know them better than other people because that's your friend, right? You know if they're good, you know if they're front, like they're putting on a facade or front. So you just have to like do that little step, like, hey, I was just like you. If they cross your mind, just say, hey, how are you doing? How's everything? How's your family? You know what I mean? It's honestly a habit and something that you have to build if you don't do it often, right? But changing your belief, because even my friend said, oh, I don't call people because same thing what you said, because I don't want to bother people. To me, I love it when my friends call me. As I get older, I realize, wow, like life is so, like, especially with this pandemic, like life is so it's not promised, like tomorrow's not promised, like, like having people check up on me. Just the other day, like I almost got into like a car accident, like, and my friend, she called, like she texted me, and I was like, oh my gosh, thank God you texted me, because like I was thinking about you. Like I was thinking of you, and like I was just happy. And my friend, she actually did get into a car crash, and I actually messaged her, but she's fine. She's fine. But I'm just saying, you just never know. Things are crazy. Things are crazy. Things are happening every day. I'm not trying to scare you guys, but we
I,
live in a world where we think that we're invincible. We live in a world where we think because I'm good, you're good. Because you're posting, I see you're posting, you're fine. I think we have to change the way we think about it.
I, was-
yes.
I'm so I look like this because I'm kind of like confused as to like you were in a car crash or recently, but then your friend was also in one another time.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, wow, that's a lot.
You
Sorry.
see
It
how
is.
life
I'm
is?
sorry. I was sorry
You
to
see how
drop that
life
on you.
you see
Nah,
how
Huh?
life works?
I was sorry to drop that on you, but like it's crazy. Like she's good and I'm good, but it's the fact that if she was not gonna text me, or she didn't text me and she didn't call me, I would probably not, because I'm still shooken up about it. I probably would not ever message her. She probably would not know if I'm okay. She was just checking on me, like, how's your day? And I'm like, yo, thank you. And like I appreciate that. And then sometimes that's people's love languages. It's just like checking up on them and letting them know, like, you care and you're thinking about them. You just never know, because you receive it differently doesn't mean, that your friends won't appreciate it. It's
Gotcha.
good to show appreciation.
Yeah, yeah, and I think this kind of segues beautifully into mental health and mental well-being. So we did talk about how just sending a meme like once a week or something on Instagram or whatever is not the same as actually communicating to someone on a daily basis. So with the perceptions of social media and how different everyone's reality is and what's perfect, what's ideal, what's good, what's healthy, what's not healthy, what all these things that so many people put on social media, it's easy for, especially for teenagers, it's easy for one to kind of warp their mindset and lower their self-esteem without even realizing it. And God knows where that leads. So but nonetheless, this aspect of life is all about resilience, mental health, mental well-being, being strong and confident in yourself without allowing anyone's opinions to like really negatively break you down, but use that as fuel to take your life to the next level, or use it as constructive criticism to change your life in an even higher way. So, what advice do you have in helping one, especially who lives in this unique generation when everyone gets, insulted for something when it's not really an insult, when it's really just a joke? So, what advice do you have in helping one who lives in this kind of generation, who's still figuring out their identity and now has to figure out going from literally having no identity, not knowing who they are, to being this confident person that could take on any kind of feedback and any kind of constructive criticism?
I feel like it's easy to know, like, when someone tries to label you and they try to put some like label on you and it doesn't align with your identity, it's really easy to brush it off, versus somebody that doesn't really know who they are and they're trying to figure it out. They'll probably take it personally, like, wow, this person thinks I'm lazy, maybe I am lazy, and then they start going into this like thought. You really gotta like think about it. First of all, why is this person saying it? Where are they coming from? Who is this person to you? Is this person someone that you're gonna see in 5 years from now, 10 years from now in your life? You have to watch out who you're allowing to speak over you. Don't just let anybody speak over you, and you need to speak over yourself. You need to speak over yourself. You need to have positive affirmations that build yourself up, that align with what you do. For example, I realized that I'm resilient. And then I compared it to the things that I've been through, and I compared it to, like, hey, if this person, well, I wasn't comparing myself to other people, but I was saying, like, most people wouldn't be able to survive what I go through. You know what I mean? So I say that I'm resilient because of that, like, because I've been through stuff, I grow through it, right? And then I say things like I'm naturally beautiful. So then I try to, like, wear my natural hair and be okay with it, right? So you have to build that up. That goes back to our other question, but from before, when what Tevin asked me, like, how do you build that identity? You need to build yourself up. Why are you waiting for someone to do that for you? Build yourself up. I feel like so much times people are sitting there waiting for people to come and be like, this is your purpose. This is your life work. You need to do that for yourself. You need to do that self-discovery for yourself. You need to look at what you're passionate about, and let your passion fuel your purpose. It goes hand in hand. Let your passion drive you to your purpose. That way it feels like you're not working in life. I feel like so much people pick jobs that are not fulfilling because they don't know what their purpose is. They don't know what they're passionate about. Or maybe they don't have any passion anymore because they forgot how to dream big. I don't know. I feel like, we're just living a life and we just end up doing things just because we're doing it. I'm working just because I'm working. What are you working for? What are you working towards? Hopefully you're not just chasing money. Hopefully at the end of the day, you're working towards something. It's more than just money. I feel like, you can have $1 million and not have $1 million mindset. Doesn't mean that you're gonna produce, or you're gonna attract money, because you don't have that mindset. I feel like, you really got to build yourself up. And I feel like this is the perfect time to build yourself, is while you're locked up in the house. This is the best time.
I love
Maybe
that
you need to,
mindset. I love that mindset. Sometimes you may not have $1 million, but you're not gonna have that $1 million mindset. Like some people have a lot of opportunities, but they don't have the blueprints in order to execute
Yes.
on those plans.
Yeah.
And that mindset is so crucial.
Yeah.
Yeah. So before we even move on to physical, any one two comments you have on mental health or mentality, Tevin?
Um, not really on mental mentality. Sorry for my brain. Not really on mentality like itself, but it more so goes back to not being able to walk away from certain things, or like maybe that. Well, it kind of ties in because this kind of goes back to emotional, but they go hand in hand. Because you be like your friend, you're not able to walk away from a certain friendship because you've
Mhm.
invested so much time into that friendship.
Right.
I just wanted to that reminded me, and it basically is the definition of like the sunk cost like fallacy or paradox, where it's just like it's a fancy name, but it's basically it's an economic paradox when you invest so much into one thing, right? And you reach that threshold, and once you pass that threshold, you're no longer psychologically able to back out because you've invested so much, right? And you'd rather go down with the ship than actually leave and go find a better opportunity. Um, it's an economic paradox, but it fits so well with what we were talking about
Yeah.
to bring that up. And a lot of people fall into that paradox. Shout out to my guy Richard Taylor. Yeah, whatever. Probably a white guy. Well, shout out to him. And an economist. Yeah, that's what they're called. But yeah, I just thought it really related to this. And a lot of people have that mindset when it comes to friendships or other relationships or like
Yeah.
compliments or insults or anything like that, where they attach so much to it that they're just ruled by it and are dominated by it. They're not able to kind of back up, reflect, and kind of invest their time and opportunity into something that could be more fruitful down the line.
Mm-hmm. And
Yeah.
what was it called again? Just the name, just
The
refresher.
sunk cost fallacy.
Sorry, you broke up.
The sunk cost fallacy.
The sunk
Or
cost.
sunk cost fallacy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see a lot of people doing that, just like what you said about being a part of something until the wheels fall off. Driving that car until the wheels fall
Yeah.
off.
Oh
And
gosh.
from one perspective,
Yeah. I'm thinking the same.
it's nice to be like loyal and yeah,
Yeah.
again, loyal to something, being patient about to the process, to
Yeah.
whatever you're committed to. But like, if you know this is not working, if you know this is leading
You
you
kind
down
of on one side of the point, you kind of get like the I first heard this from Will Smith. He's probably not the first person that had the idea, but he's doing this interview and he's saying how he's so determined and he has amazing work ethic to the point at which if somebody was running beside him on a treadmill and they're both running and they're both competing, he's not gonna get off that treadmill until he either wins or like faints from exhaustion. Is
Hmm.
that he has that type of mindset when it comes to competing, when it comes to like trying to better himself and stuff like that. On that side, riding into the wheels fall off, I think it's kind of a cool mindset. That's the best word I could think of. A more positive mindset. Where I'm such a competitor,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe I'm naturally a competitive person. Maybe that's why I like the idea of that. But I find it really interesting and really motivating to be that devoted to something, to be willing to throw yourself into it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And have that much passion about it. But at the same time, it could also be very unhealthy when you're throwing
Yeah.
yourself into it and not reaping any benefits from it. And you're just
Mm-hmm.
suffering.
Mm-hmm. I feel like in the society that we're in now, I think it's very dangerous to compare. Like I think it's very dangerous because, well, I mean, for you it works because you're competitive, and like I'm competitive too because I'm an athlete. Like I love competition, but when it comes to like um what it does to you emotionally, like I feel like what it does to you because like what if you don't win? What are you trying to win? Like what are you trying to one up on that person, right? I feel like you should be comparing with your results.
Yeah.
You should be trying to beat your results. You should keep track of yourself,
Mhm.
right? Because if you're comparing with someone else, then I feel like especially if you're friends with a person, it creates like an unhealthy, unbalanced relationship, and then it's just toxic because you're comparing with the person. Like
Interesting.
maybe I don't know, maybe guys do that. Do guys do that? And like,
Oh, I
does it
was just
work
thinking
out?
about me and Brian's relationship. It's just we just compete against each other. That's pretty much all we do, like 24/7. Like
How do you guys do that? Like, how do you guys do that
anytime
instead of saying?
anytime we're in the same environment, we're literally just compete. Like if we're working out in the same proximity, it's automatically competition. If we're both like, oh, how do I put it? Like I'm the type of person, like with my friend group, if there's a door, like and you're walking as a group of friends, if there's a door and I'm like second in like the crowd of friends, I'm gonna start walking faster to be first to that door. Like I'm that type of person.
Okay, so it's more of a fun competition.
Yeah.
Fun competition. So you're not comparing in the sense of, oh, how much money did you get? Oh, like,
Oh no,
like,
never.
yeah,
Like healthy competition.
okay, you guys okay. I feel like guys, I feel
Like
like I
who's
can
faster
think
at basketball, that type of stuff, you know?
yeah, I feel like guys could do that and it could work. I don't know if girls can do that. When I think of competition with girls, I think of cat fight. Like,
Yep.
like my neck.
Well, yeah, speaking of the neck, the arms, the legs, and all the other physical body parts, you see that segue I did? Speaking into the physical aspects of our lives, we laid the foundation of finances, relationships, mental well-being, but now we're talking about the physical well-being, you know, our bodies, our skincare, our clothing, styles, all these things that we're investing into our one and only temple, aka our bodies. So again, how does one start the process of being aware of building that ideal body and style and frame that you want when you say that, okay, this is the identity I want to have, this is how much money I want to make, this is the career I want to live. So now you have a job, you have a shelter, you have the right friend group, right? You're surrounded by good energy. Now all you have to do is just be happy with yourself. What changes do you have to do? I mean, what mindset do you have to have in order to have that ideal body frame, style that you would want in this world? I know there's like four different aspects, so we can break it down in like body frame, like just the body itself. Then we can break it down in like, let's say if you want to go in deeper with like hair, skincare. Actually, we can kind of mesh skin, hair care, and clothing together. So like style and like self-care.
Okay, so your physical aspect. It goes back to mental.
Yeah.
I feel like we live in a time, not even like we live in a time. I don't know why I keep saying that, but it's just human beings. Like when we go to the gym, we look at ourselves. We go, this is what I want to change. I want to change this. But you can't change anything about the way you look physically until you mentally are ready to work out and live a healthy lifestyle. Like it's all balance at the end of the day. You have to be mentally in it. If I feel sad or depressed and I feel like I just don't want to work out, then I'm not going to work out. Then I'm going to miss a day. I'm going to miss those results. And the best days to work out are the days when you don't feel like working out. Like I know when I wanted to make the transition to play ball, I knew the days that I didn't run hills were the days that I was missing out. The days that I ran hills and I was like, wow, like I didn't want to do this today, but I needed that. I needed this. I mean, I do have PTSD from hills, but I mean, like mentally, I needed it. So, I mean, I feel like it just goes back to mental. Like I really do. I believe you can't change anything physical until you're mentally stable. If you ain't right from within, how you gonna be right without? You know what I'm saying? Like Lauren Hill said it. Lauren Hill said it. You need to be right from within.
Actual.
Yeah.
Facts. So like now, like I think with that mindset, it's really a lot easier to kind of make that transition to figuring out what you want to look like from just like a body frame standpoint. But with like style's a big thing. Style's a big thing with all these different styles you see on social media and everything. Like you could be happy with yourself and actually know what you want, but like piecing the right clothes and shoes and all these things together can still be kind of difficult. Like I know who I want to look like from like a physical standpoint, and I kind of know what I want to be from like a clothing standpoint. But it's still kind of difficult to like make that process and figure out your style and figuring out your unique flow because sometimes in high school, I don't know if you've seen that too, but it'll be like a group of guys all look the same, like the same shirt, the same pants, same shoes. And it's just like that's that's so generic. Like you kind of want to like, step out. Like maybe that person wants to kind of like be different, stand out from the crowd.
Well,
Uh,
because of
any
high
advice on
school,
style?
well, because of what you just said with high school, you want to be accepted.
Yeah, that is
And
true.
that's a that goes back to psychology really, because if you're not accepted by your group, then you feel alienated. You feel like they're
Yeah,
on you. It's actually a survival thing. If you
yeah.
actually think about it, if you actually go deep into it, psychology, it's actually a survival thing. If you want to be liked, because you don't want people to turn on you. I mean, look at this world where things are going. Like people are just like grabbing all the spaghettis. I want spaghetti too. I want to be liked. I want someone to look at me and be like, "Oh, she looks cute. Let me give her some spaghetti." I don't know. Like you want to be like, you want to be liked because you want people to do things in your favor. It's easier to get, what you want from people when people like you. So that's why you want to look like
Hmm.
everybody else. You don't want to stand out. And if you do stand out and you are a trendsetter, you're going to be setting the trend that kind of already aligns with what people like. You're not going to go way out and start wearing God knows what. I don't know. Like I'm just thinking of some crazy stuff. You're not gonna start wearing crazy stuff because no one's gonna follow you. I mean, if you want to be a trendsetter, a go-getter, go do it. Go do it, but do it the right way. Like there's ways to do this. There's a time and a place. Know yourself. Anyways, yeah, fashion is really serious, especially in the GTA. Like now I'm back in Kitchener. Tevin, did we lose you?
No, no, no. I'm thinking.
I,
Continue.
oh
Um,
man.
I feel like now I'm back in Kitchener. It doesn't matter as much as in the GTA. I know everybody's a sneakerhead in the GTA. I think it's like you just have to be. Like if you just don't have nice sneakers, people are gonna look at you. What are those? Like what where did that start? Where did that start? What are those? That's to make you feel off.
Facts.
Makes you feel off. That's why people do that. That's why people watch their shoes and watch what they're wearing, because you're going to be made fun of. You're going to be
Hmm.
made to be feeling
Hmm.
kind of weird. Nobody wants
The
to feel weird.
self-conscious. Yes, yes.
Exactly. But if what you wear makes you confident, then you're not actually confident. I'm telling you that right now. You're not. You're not. I know for the longest time I wasn't, like, unless I was wearing brand names and wearing certain things. I had my hair laid a certain way, got the baby edges laid. Like I'm natural. I don't have time for that. Like I kudos to the girls that have time for that. Like I don't have the time for that. Like to have like everything perfect. I feel like we're trying to reach perfection. We're forgetting about what really matters at the same time. But at the same time, it's very hard. I'm not trying to comfort anybody. It's very hard to live in a society where we actually put an importance of how we look and how we style ourselves, because that's going to basically fall in with the group of people you want to hang out with. I like to make music and I like to hang around with people that make music. I like to do like athletic things, so I like to hang out with them. So I can't just show up to the gym wearing God knows what. No one's gonna talk to me. I'm gonna be that weird girl. I gotta look cute. Period.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. That belief beautifully segues into spiritual belief, which is all about I love my segues, which is all about recognizing like there's so many different kinds of religions in this world. But
Mm,
I believe that the one universal bond that all humans have is just being faithful in something and just, straight up believing in that thing. Whether you're this,
mhm,
that, you believe in that and you will stand by that until the day you die. So I feel that that belief allows one to always, I guess, see something bigger than themselves and allows them to always stay consistent and be optimistic for whatever goals or challenges that is in their way. So like with me, I'm a child of God. So if I'm struggling with something that I physically can't handle, I'd be like, God, I need some help. Give me the energy, give me the words, give me the wisdom, give me the knowledge, give me all of that stuff.
mhm.
And before I accomplish the goal and more. So how does one kind of, obviously we can't get into nitty gritty of religion because that's a whole different podcast, but how does one start that process of having that faith and optimistic aura and characteristic, strengthening that characteristic? So when there are days when they're feeling broke or they're not with the right friend group or they're feeling self-conscious about their body, how do they like break out of that bubble, that hole, and find some sort of faith or higher something to kind of get out of those darker days and find those bright ones? Yeah, big question. That's a big question. We do big
It,
questions at Catch Excellence.
Every
it is, it is a big question, but like at the same time, you're right. It depends on what you believe.
Yeah.
I kind of feel bad for people, and I should watch my words, but like I do feel bad for people that don't have like a spiritual community. They don't have a community that is rooted in a
Yeah,
church, or they don't have a prayer life, or they don't have a connection to God at
I
all.
see.
I feel
Yeah.
bad for them because of the fact that if they are depressed, they're gonna be looking to worldly things. Like they're gonna be looking to getting advice from people. They're gonna expect people to save them. You can't expect people to save you. People switch up.
No,
People switch up.
no, you
People switch up.
can't.
People change. Things change. Seasons change. Hello, like you can't expect that. So I feel like, the reason for me, like, it's really important to, have confidence in God, and not even confidence in myself. Like confidence in God is knowing the fact that okay, I'm gonna be who I need to be, where I need to be, because God's gonna lead me.
Mm.
Like
Yep.
I just don't see it any other way. Like I just don't see how you could really live this life. Especially this life is like if you try to put your faith in like the government, queens and kings, like these people, I'm telling you, your bosses, they can promote you or they can demote you. You could either go up or you can either go down. Like, I mean, people, we are people of emotions. We act on emotions and feelings. And, I'm going to treat Tevin today however I want to treat him because I'm in a bad mood. You know what I mean? And then that's how I'm going to deal with him. And then the next day I'm going to come back to Tevin. Hey, Tevin, how are you? And like, be all cute. No, it doesn't work like that. Like, I feel like, when you put your belief into people and you like try to like, I don't know, spiritually connect with people, it doesn't work because you just never know. You just never know. I feel like you just need to look to a higher power. You need to look inward and upward. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yep. Tevin, I know you're really very educated in the spiritual aspect of life. Any thoughts and comments to help one get out of those darker bubbles and days when they don't even have an identity? They're very self-conscious about their body and they're hanging around those wrong group of friends.
I'm gonna have to ask you to repeat the question. Not
Oh
because
yeah. No worries. So like we
I,
talked about the five. Oh, so what?
wait, not because I didn't hear it, but because you
Oh,
didn't
you
ask
didn't.
the physical aspect. Because you're disrespectful. So I want to go back to the physical
Hey,
to come back to the
hey.
spiritual to God.
Yeah. The
Um,
physical aspect. Continue.
so okay. So just quick, I'll make this fast because you did skip over me, but it's whatever. I don't really have too much different to say. Um, okay. So first you need to identify what is fit to you as a person, as an individual, because when it comes to things like physical fitness and style and stuff like that, there is something that is objectively attractive, right? But you have to make sure that you individually feel confident within yourself, right? In terms of like, we all know what ugliness looks like, we all know what beauty looks like when it comes to style or physical appearance or whatever. But what really matters is that you feel what you reflect. You know what I mean? Like someone could be attractive, they don't feel attractive on the inside, right? So there's an imbalance there. They're not satisfied. That means they're not satisfied like mentally with how they look. Or someone could be ugly on the outside, but they could feel beautiful on the inside. That person is more at peace with themselves. They're mentally stronger than the person I said before, right? So they just need to figure out what body type when it comes to like physical appearance stuff and frame and stuff like that. They need to figure out what they are most satisfied with. And I say that with a grain of salt because obviously there is something that isn't a more objectively healthy way to live. If you know what I'm trying to get at without saying, because I don't want to get killed.
Yeah.
But you also need to be aware that it doesn't really matter how fit you are or anything like that or how you look if you're not satisfied with who you are as a person. So it's much better to not necessarily be the most fit, but be satisfied with who you are. And that also goes for style. Me personally, my style just stems from what my mother used to buy me as a child. And my mother's sense of style, and I've just kept buying myself those different types of clothes, sweatpants, sweaters, Jordans. That's it. That's been my style.
Yeah.
Childhood. But then when it comes to like religion, Now we can get to that. And now I have to ask you to repeat the question.
Oh, this guy's a different breed. But yeah, so with spiritual, we kind of just again talked about the financial aspect. Again, it all starts with not knowing your identity, right? So we're figuring out what can one do to figure out their identity. So now that they're kind of figuring out who they are, what they want to stand by, what they want to believe in, now they need the money, now they need the job, now they need the career, right? So they're figuring out what career they want. Okay, so they've secured the bag, they secured the financial bag. What about emotion? What about the friend group? What about the people they want to surround themselves with? No, now they have the friend group. Now the mentality, what kind of mentality, resilience, defense, strength you want to have honed into your psyche. So any feedback you get, you're not immediately taking that as an insult and as a very like disrespectful thing. And then physical, just like we just stated, what kind of body frame and person you want to kind of appear as. So when all of those things are kind of like jumbled up and not going well because not every day of the process is going to look pretty, what can one do in, again, still finding out what their identity is? What can one do in figuring out how to get through those dark, difficult, challenging days in that self-improvement journey when they're still figuring out what religion I stand by, or if they have a religion, how to strengthen that religion, or just how to have some sort of foundation and being consistent and being optimistic and being faithful.
Mm.
Okay. So I'm gonna attack this from a non-religious standpoint because I feel like what I always try to do as a religious person is to be able to back up what I say from a non-religious standpoint because that just helps it appeal to people better. If you know what I
Yeah.
mean. Like if something is if you look like a Venn diagram, if something is true spiritually and it's true within the natural world, literally, then it's an absolute truth. There's no debate about it. Um,
Yeah.
so from a non-spiritual standpoint, when let's say from an atheistic perspective, when you don't have a natural belief set, you kind of just believe in like things and science and existence. But that's pretty much all atheists believes in matter. Um, from that standpoint, your moral belief set, because that's one of the main things religion does. It gives you a moral belief set and it tells you how to interact with the world, yourself, and people around you, and also how to react to the deity that our religion is attributed to. So if you're an atheist, that goes back to the belief set of whatever like land you're a part of, if you get what I mean. If you're an atheist in North America, you then naturally adapt the North American belief set, which is a Judeo-Christian belief set, just kind of stemming off now because they're no longer that. But America was founded on a Judeo-Christian belief set from England and blah, 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 and partly Catholicism as well. But if you grow up in India and you're an atheist, your moral belief set and stuff like that will stem from a Hindi belief set because that's their religion. That's a prominent religion in that area, right? Because your belief set from a child will be developed from your family, your friends, and everything like that, and they're being influenced by that Indian culture, right? Which, as I said, is naturally Hindi. So from that perspective, you kind of just have to. I think we kind of touched on this a lot earlier, but kind of back up and kind of just figure out like who do I want to be? What do I believe? Whether that is religion or evolution or blah blah blah, whatever. What do I believe? And what are the results or repercussions from what I believe, right? And am I okay with these repercussions going forward? If that makes sense. Like from a religious standpoint, actually, one more thing from the non-religious standpoint, real quick. If I am non-religious, am I okay with the possibility that one of these religions might be true? Am I okay with that outcome? Right? Am I able to defend what I believe and stand concretely on my feet and say that this is what I believe, this is what I believe to be true. I'm going to move forward because that's the foundation that we need to build off of. And that's kind of what religion and a community gives to someone that is religious. It gives them a foundation to stand off of. It gives them rules, guiding principles, and stuff like that, right? For someone that is non-religious, although a lot of that work has to be done independently because they don't have a religion to latch on to and fill in the gaps. From a religious standpoint, I always find it helpful to kind of study about the particular religion from a historical perspective. I find that the most liberating because I'm a Christian, a follower of Christ. So I always find it the most liberating to kind of do history about Judaism because Christianity stems from Judaism because Christ himself was a Jew, and studying the history of that progression, right? And studying the history of the progression of Christianity and how it changed over time, about Constantine and all that, Confucius and like all the different political routes that Christianity took. I find that very interesting, but that's just me personally. That might not be for somebody else. For somebody else, they might find it more interesting to kind of study the works of Christ, how loving Christ was. You know what I mean? Like the miracles that he did, stuff like that. They might find that more liberating. So it all depends on the type of person you are, the type of Christian you are, type of religion you are a part of, because there's multiple ways to kind of strengthen your religion. You kind of for Christianity, I know, and for Judaism, I can speak on as well. I'm not too familiar with like other religions, but Christianity is based on a relationship, right? So another way to strengthen a relationship, and this is just for Christianity, I'm not sure how it works for other religions, is praying, right? The more you talk to someone, the more the relationship builds, which also goes back to not knowing when to call someone. This is another thing that we talked about. But the more you talk to someone, the more that relationship builds, and then the stronger you will be as a Christian. I'm sure there's a prayer equivalent for other religions, but that's also another way to kind of get yourself strengthened within that.
Yeah, I like that idea. I like that. I like that tip. Just like what you're saying, how you studying the history of your own religion or someone else figuring out what specifics in that religion that they really loved and really resonated with emotionally. So again, it's just really finding out who, figuring out what you've loved thus far in your life, what you've done most in your life, and kind of meshing that kind of similar bond and love with your kind of higher power or faith, kind of like allow that to push you forward, because you, Tevin, are a very intellectual man, so you love knowing a lot of stuff. You love knowing a lot of stuff, so studying, and you love the process of doing of everything that you do. So I guess studying the history of your own religion and just seeing that progression, the ups, the downs, you can relate to your own ups and downs, and you can allow that to push you forward into the next level that you want to get to, which is really amazing. And again, just like what we all talked about earlier, just to tie all of this in one big last question, now that we've talked about all the major aspects of our lives, financial. Oh, you have one more thought?
I want
You
to
have
say
another
something.
comment? Of course, of
Yeah, comment
course.
on what Tevin said. I like the fact that he did two standpoints because I feel like it is a controversial topic. Like I feel like people will come at it be like, "Oh, how are you gonna say that?" But you also ask like, "How do you come out of that dark cloud? How do you come out of things like that?" So I actually wonder because like I don't really know how does an atheist get out of that dark like the depression. Like if you actually believe that we're just here, like we're just humans, and things came like a big bang happened, and things happen out of like order came in out of chaos and things like that. Like I don't even know the whole thing because I just kind of stopped listening to be honest. But to be honest, like how do you overcome depression? And I actually want to know because I actually want to help those people because it's really hard to talk to people from your standpoint because you can't do that. You can't be like, oh, we'll just pray. You can't do that. So how do you help people come out of depression if they're atheists? They don't believe in that. Like, besides being a good friend, trying to be there for them. But like sometimes it's a spiritual thing. Sometimes it's like a spiritual warfare.
Yeah,
Um,
all I can think of is really attacking from a philosophical perspective, because even if you're atheist, you still believe in philosophy. I'm just saying you matter, because that's the main problem. I can't comprehend a way to defend, to like stand up against depression and suicide if you feel like you don't matter. So firstly, my
Yeah,
first priority would be like establishing that you matter as a person. Your existence matters. And from
right.
an atheist perspective, I think you can kind of establish that by connecting you matter because you matter to other people, therefore you matter. That'd be my way. Like that's all I can think of. Um, if I were to talk to an atheist and just be like, your parents love you, so and so loves you, blah blah blah, therefore you matter. That's like
Yeah, and it goes back to what
yeah,
I'm saying. Like, you got to remember, like, you're made on purpose for a purpose, but you need to remember who you are. You
yeah.
can't just let people speak things over you. And I feel like that's why people can fall into depression because, you kind of forget who you are. You kind of have like the negative self talk. You have to check your self talk.
Mhm.
What are you saying to yourself? Sometimes it could be you breaking your own self. It doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily be someone else. So
mm-hmm.
I feel like if I'm talking to an atheist, Sorry, I don't know why. I'm just trying to
It's
figure it.
yeah, I know. Yeah.
Because I don't really talk to atheists, but like, it's not like I'm saying like I have an issue with them. I think they have an interesting way of looking at the world, but I always feel like when it comes to religion, it's just like it comes into a battle. Like, why are we in a war zone? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm more like peace, love. So I don't know. I don't know. Like when it comes to that, I feel like going back to letting them know that they matter. But sometimes people don't believe that because it goes back to the belief. You could tell somebody I love you, and if they're insecure, they're not going to hear you. They're not going to hear that. You're going to have to say it every day because that person has a hole at the bottom of their heart. Just to give you imagery, they have a hole at the bottom of their heart. You're filling them up daily, and then you're like, wait, why don't you believe me? Because they're insecure because of their life, their past life, right? So now they're trying to come over that. That's why it's really important to heal before starting relationships with people. It's really important to build yourself up, because if you don't know how to build yourself up, you don't know how to be happy by yourself and just be happy. What makes you be happy, like what makes you happy, then you won't connect and relate and bond with people. And another thing about depression is it comes with not bonding with people. This is why I was talking to you, Tevin, about calling your friends, because when we don't bond with people, when we don't relate, we can't have relationships. Relating is relationships, connecting, bonding. And when we don't have that bond, that's when we fall into depression. Like when I was going into depression, the reason I could talk about depression is because I was in it, I came out of it, and then I can kind of explain to you guys how I came out of it if you want me to.
Sure.
Yeah, you can go even deeper, because a lot of people who maybe like listen to this podcast may need these kind of words to hear right now.
So when I went into depression, it's because I isolated myself, like purposely. I just started to really believe that nobody cared by not talking to people, by not not listening to what people were telling me. My boyfriend was telling me at the time I was dating. My boyfriend was telling me, yeah, I love you, but I wasn't listening to him. I didn't care about it. I was already numb. I was already, and I really want to be careful about this because this is a really emotional topic, and it's really close to my heart because I lost my cousin to suicide, and I was on the verge of suicide myself. But the way how I came out of that dark spot is basically just remembering who I am and like what I'm like why I'm here, you know what I mean, like so. And of course other relationships too, but the thing about it is I would have to say is don't isolate yourself. If you're going through a depression right now, and like this is on my heart, like I don't know who's listening to this, who needs this message, but if you're going through depression right now, don't isolate. And when your friends tell you that they love you and they care about you, listen to them. And every single day, that's why I'm saying it's really important to speak life over yourself. Don't get into that belief, because it's really easy to believe that you don't matter or they don't care, and then it becomes more of like a self-pity thing. Like you start breaking yourself down. It's very easy to break yourself down. So once you get in that mindset, ask for help. Tell someone close to you, like, this is what I've been feeling lately. Share your feelings with people. Be open, be vulnerable. There's power in being vulnerable. There's power in it. So I just wanted to like let someone know. I don't know who needed that message, but honestly, it's really easy to turn. I'm not gonna say it's really easy, but it's really easy to turn things around when you decide to like, start bonding with people. That's why I feel like it's really important to connect with people and, yeah, getting to know yourself and what makes you happy, writing down a list of things that make you happy. Make sure you're doing it every single day, because we all have an inner child in us, and it's called the red wagon. Like that's a therapy thing. We all have an inner child within us, and if you're not feeding that, like if you're not soothing yourself, maybe something happened to you as a kid, and you're not going back to addressing that trauma, addressing it. If you're not doing the stuff that you need to do, then you're gonna beat yourself up. You're not gonna deal with it positive. Like you're gonna start maybe drugs, alcohol, all that other stuff, right? There's a lot of negative ways to cope. You don't want to have negative coping mechanisms, because at the end of the day, you're just kind of brushing it underneath, and it's going to surface up at the worst time. You're going to start bleeding on people that never even hurt you, because you didn't close that wound up. You didn't do the things that you needed to do, right? So for me, I know it's really important to have self-compassion. And self-compassion is not self-pity. Self-compassion is knowing I got to cut and I got to do something to protect this cut. Self-pity is picking at the cut. That's the difference. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Sorry to get so deep.
No. It's a message. It's a message that needs to be heard. This is literally all about finding yourself, finding who you are as a person. And sometimes people don't realize who they are until they're in that search, in that journey of finding themselves. And they realize that, oh my gosh, I had all this baggage. I had all
Yeah.
of this on me, and I didn't even let it go. And it's and it's a good thing that I'm finding myself doing this self-improvement journey, because I can let go of it and feel more free than I ever have been before. Now, instead of not doing this journey and self-search and self-discovery, and then God knows where I'll be
Yeah.
10, 15 years later.
Yeah.
So like all in all of what we're all saying is that finding yourself and laying the foundation of who you are is not an easy process. It's going to take time, it's going to take practice. And the last topic and kind of question that we want to just address in this podcast is just doing the little things every single day. So my friend Derek, like last year I believe, gave me this advice, basically telling me frequency over urgency. So he basically said that sometimes people, and myself included, because I was actually like asking him about advice and stuff, about how some people would rather make the decision to say, I don't have time to do something, and just take a day off. Like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
there's an hour before I got to go eat dinner or something. I could work out, but like, I got to travel. I got to do this. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather have 2 hours to work out. So I'm just going to scrap out workout tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes, and then you're like, and you make up another excuse, another excuse, another excuse. So instead of falling into that trap of saying, I don't have time, and I'm just going to not take a day off, it's best to rather say, even if I only have 10 minutes to work on something that I'd rather have an hour to work on, I'd rather just work on that for 10 minutes just to make that slow process, that slow progression. Because a month later, you could have taken, let's say, 20 out of 30 days off, and you would have had little to no progress. But if you actually worked every single day, even if it's only for 10 minutes of work every single day, there's going to be an exponential amount of progress, because there's experience, there's case scenarios that you're experiencing and dealing with and all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So to tie everything all together, how can one um, start the process of doing those small little practices every single day without kind of falling into that trap of feeling like they don't have time to do something? And yeah, so how can one start the process of doing those small little practices of doing something every single day in regards to the 5 aspects of life? So we can break it down and doing the small practices of finances, doing the small practices of friend groups and relationships, doing the small practices of mentality and physical and spiritual.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tevin, take it away.
We can go back and forth. We can start like first. We can all talk about financial. Then we can all talk about emotional, just to like slowly get into it.
Yeah, I know. I'm just putting him on the spot. Sorry.
Yeah. Put him on
Oh,
the spot.
no problem. Brian already knows that I thrive when I'm on the spot. I just
Yeah. Pressure. Yeah. You're driving pressure.
Well, diamonds are made under pressure, so go ahead. Go ahead.
Eh, be a diamond, Tevin. Go ahead. Take the floor or a Zoom floor call, virtual, something.
What?
I don't know.
um,
Take time. Take time.
but I recommend kind of breaking it up, not necessarily a daily routine, but kind of breaking it up into a weekly routine. Because one thing I learned from a program that I was doing last summer, a business program that I was doing, I always try to plan 2 weeks in advance, right? Because successful businesses, they plan on a bi-quarterly basis. So every 2 quarters,
Mm-hmm.
they have all of that already set in stone, planned
Mm-hmm.
out. And then during those 2 quarters, they're planning for the one after, the next 2 quarters after that. And a quarter is 3 months, because wait, is it three? Yeah, 3 months.
Yes, big math, big math.
Yeah,
Engineer, you got
four.
this.
Yeah, 4, 3, 4. Yeah. But kind of breaking it down. and saying, okay, every week, Sunday morning, when I wake up, I'm gonna review my finances, right? That takes care of F, right? um every 2 days or every time I feel like, I'm bored, I'm missing somebody, especially in this climate, every time somebody crosses my mind, let me write down their name, right? And then towards the end of the day, when I get some free time, I'll go through the list of names that I wrote down throughout the day and be like, yo, you good? Are you not good? That's kind of something that I've been thinking of, something that I might employ, because as I said, that's kind of my problem. I don't talk to people. And then for kind of mentally, you can kind of just read a lot of self-care books, watch some podcasts. You go watch Tiana's podcast, just random plug, amazing if you want to, work on your mental health and stuff like that. And then at physical, um, I try to work out twice a day, but even if you can't work out twice a day, working out maybe right before you go to bed or as soon as you wake up. The best time to work out is in the morning, but I know it's hard for people to get the energy to work out in the morning. So just make a commitment right before you shower in the nighttime, work out, shower, bed. Just build that into your routine. Kind of just building these things into your week or 2 week routine and having them set in stone and planned out, right? And kind of just falling in line with that. And as spiritually, whatever your day of worship is, just kind of devoting that time, right? Really getting I like the Bible's emphasis on Sabbath, that day of rest, really getting that day of rest to kind of delve in, back up and dive into who you think you are spiritually as a person, your belief set, your faith, like all of that, right? And on also reinforcing that with 1 or 2 times a day of reading whatever holy book you read, Quran, Sanskrit, the Bible, whatever. Just reading whatever whatever you believe in. Or you're an atheist, read some books about Darwin's theory of evolution. I don't know. Okay, just building it into your routine or something like that, and just kind of diving in, making sure it's set in stone, so you can just kind of build on top of these things day after day after day, and they'll turn into habits eventually.
Yep.
Mhm.
I think a lot of people could take a lot from those small changes, small daily habits they can do in practicing and strengthening their 5 aspects of life from Tevin. Tiana, are you ready to share yours? You want me to kind of go first to gather your thoughts?
I got it, but I know you have 5 things. I don't want to miss 5 of them. So if you want to guide me, so I know it's financial. Like that's the
Yep.
first one.
Financial. Yeah, that's the first one.
And then like mentally, physically, spiritually. I feel like I'm missing one.
Emotional, friend groups, relationships. That's the second one.
Oh, I put that in mental, but okay, emotional.
Yeah, that you can kind of like they're kind of interchangeable. Yeah,
No, but
you can mesh them together.
okay. So when it comes to finances, the compound effect, I highly recommend
Yep.
it. Oh my
Cheap plug,
god.
cheap plug.
Because like I feel like we'd rather scratch a ticket and become a millionaire, but you don't have the $1 million mindset. Like you need to know that building over time is better than getting it all at once, because then you don't know how to keep it because you never had it in the beginning. So if you learn how to work for something, then you'll appreciate it. 1, 2, you'll know how to get it. You know how to get it. You know how to open up other streams of income, right? Even this podcast, like I feel like what you guys are doing is great. And once you guys have, like, I'm pretty sure you guys have a good follow base, you can have sponsorships in here. You can open up other you can have like shirts and things like that, right? Things start coming out of just one thing. That's not the shirt I'm talking about, but yeah, you can have sweaters. That's not it, Tevin. That's not it. But you're getting there. Anyways,
Different brand,
yeah.
different brand. That's a different brand.
Yeah, seriously, YTV days. Anyways,
Facts.
let me stay focused. Yeah, so I feel like when it comes to money, like, you have to compound, and how I do this and how I saved a lot of money is I take a lot of my money out the moment I get paid. The moment it gets paid, it goes right into my savings. Like I take like a lot of it out. I don't even look at it. I used to be obsessed with my money. Like I used to, like, whenever payday comes, I used to look at the money. I used to have a love for money, and God
I know that feeling.
God
I know
really,
that
God
feeling.
humbled me. God humbled me real quick, because I used to check my money all the time. It's like, yo, that ain't looking right. I don't like that. I don't like that. I used to look at it, right, and it used to change my emotion. Like if I have a lot of money in the bank, I'm
Yeah.
happy, but if I don't have a lot of money in the bank, then the whole day, I'm not happy.
Yeah.
So now I know how to be content with and without it. So now because I don't care, all of a sudden now I have more money than I did before because I really cared before. It's really weird how money is. Like, I feel like those who chase money all the time and that's all they're thinking about, they don't really get the abundance, the prosperity that they want, versus the people that are just living their lives. You're doing something that you like. Right now, you're motivating people how to unlock their potential. You're adding value to other people's lives. You're adding value. Because you're adding value, you are valuable. Like, people are going to pay for that. People are going to pay for that. You need to remember that. You need to remember that it's not all about chasing the money. And if you're chasing the money, that's too much work, first of all. Let the money work for you. I'm telling you, that's too much work. I used to chase money. Okay, wait, hold on a second. Let me just think. Okay, so I used to like work in a factory and then work in another job. So I was literally spreading myself thin. So I was like, okay, I was just trying to think how I was gonna word that. But basically I was just a workaholic.
Yeah,
Basically.
just working and working. Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't know how to rest. And that's why I love the way what Tevin said about the Sabbath. Like, that's really important. Like, if anything, that has actually helped me. A day of rest has actually increased my income. People think you have to be moving in order to produce stuff all the time. Sometimes you just need to rest because your body needs to, recuperate. Your body needs to
Recharge. It needs to recharge. You can't use your phone all day. It's gonna die eventually. So you need to recharge your batteries. You need to, get back into the game. You can't work. We're not robots. We're not robots.
Exactly. You wouldn't let your phone die. So why are you letting yourself die? You have to like charge yourself. You have to charge yourself. I like that. Nice. Thanks. Thanks for that assist.
A little bit of an assist. A little bit alley-oop.
Anyways, I needed that. But yeah, so when it comes to financial, talk to your financial advisors and remember it's the compound effect. It's daily. Still thing. Don't even watch it. I invested in cryptocurrency. I don't even watch it because I was watching it so much and then I forgot about it. 2 years went by, I forgot about it. And then people were talking about it. And then I looked at it again and I'm like, whoa, I have a lot of money sitting there. What the heck? And I still haven't touched it. I don't even know how to touch it, to be honest. Like, there's a
2 years. I was supposed to say 1 month. I haven't looked at it for 1 month. She said 2 years. That's
2 years.
That's a good mindset.
2 years I haven't looked at it because I'm thinking that's another flow of income. Like, I'm not gonna get into it too much, but basically, like, I invested in like, there's these machines, there's these computers, and they're in Iceland, okay, and they're basically doing something and they're giving me money. Okay, that's all I know. I don't know the facts, I don't know everything, I just know I'm getting paid. Okay, so anyways, I invested in it, and it's not like the police can knock on my door and be like, oh, you're doing something legal. It's legal, like, it's
It's legal. Yep,
exactly.
yep.
So just know the fact that you don't want to get it fast. You want to be able to build it, and you want to, as soon as you get paid, save most of it, 50% if you can. Save a lot more and pay off your debt. Like, what are you doing buying all these expensive brands and you're in debt? If you're in debt, you're broke. I don't care what your bank account says. If you're in debt, you're broke, because the bank, the government, whoever, they're gonna get their money. Just know they're gonna get their money. Like, if you don't pay that off, and then when it comes to buying a house, buying a car, if you have bad credit, yeah, that hurts. It's really hard to come back from. Just pay it off. The people that bank with me, they like banking with me. They like me. They're like, wow, this looks amazing. Look what you did. You saved so much. And I'm like, you know what I mean? We have a great relationship. It's amazing. It feels better. It wasn't always like this. I'm not even gonna get into that story. But anyways, yeah, I was always, I was pretty messy. Anyways, it's pretty messy. I cleaned up. So yeah, financially, mentally, I'm gonna tie mental and emotional together because I don't know.
Yeah.
But mentally, I used to like binge eat. I used to be a binge eater. I used to just love, like, I don't know, I love snacking. I love popcorn, chips. I just love snacking. I'm a snacker. I love, like, cashews. I just love to snack. I just like, there's something about it. And I think it's an actual thing. Like, for those of you who are binge eaters out there and you're listening to this and you want to know how to overcome this, first, you need to know there's something called the habit loop, which is from Atomic Habits by James Clear. So basically the habit loop is first there's a cue, then there's a craving, and then there's the response, and then there's the reward. So the cue for me was Netflix. If I sit down and watch Netflix, my sister got me into Naruto. If I sit down and start watching Naruto, I'm gonna want a snack. He's always eating ramen. Why can't I eat noodles too? So I'm gonna want to eat noodles. Then that's the craving right there. So the cue was I'm sitting in front of the TV. Now I'm gonna want a snack because I put those two together.
I do the same thing.
Response is me. I'm eating. Now I'm bloated. I look 3 months pregnant. How? Because I'm overeating. Because I'm in front of the TV. You're watching one thing after another. I look like I'm in the trying. Don't make fun of me. It's terrible. How do I go from a 6-pack to 3 months pregnant? It's crazy, the transition. Okay, crazy. And then the reward is, I don't even know if I'm overeating. Like there's no reward to that. To me, it's just like it tastes good. Like, that's the reward. It tastes good. Like especially popcorn. So I'm obsessed with popcorn and Netflix. I feel like, society did that to me. Like if you're watching something, you need popcorn. So that's why I do that. But in order to break this, I actually did come out of this. So I'm no longer binge eating. In order to break this, I no longer eat while watching Netflix. I eat mindfully. I eat when I'm not doing anything. So I chew slowly, and chewing slowly and actually being mindful of what you have on your plate is really key. It's probably the key to all success, because you can't be working out and you can't be wanting like a nice body and you're just eating like crazy. You have to be mindful. So I take my time, and it makes sense because when you eat and you chew, I just learned this recently. It's good to have saliva like building up in your mouth and then like going through. It's good for the digestive tract. Okay, so yeah, there's some science.
New information.
So yeah, it's good. It's actually good for you to be mindful about it, and you won't be bloated as well. You won't get cramps from eating too fast, right? You're mindful about it, and then you'll know when you're hungry. You won't overeat that threshold, because like once you overeat, the thing about gaining weight, that's also a compound effect as well. You can have a compound effect to success and a compound effect to failure. And I'm not saying like, okay, being obese is a failure, but you're gonna have heart failure. You're gonna have some type of failure. So, like it is what it is.
But it's true though. Like everything you do, it's like little stuff every day, either leads to good or bad.
Yeah, exactly. So what are you gonna feed? What wolf are you gonna feed today? Like, are you gonna feed the good wolf or the bad wolf? So that's what I'm going to say about mentally, because, mentally it does weigh down. It's mentally and physically, actually, because mentally it weighs you down if you're eating too much, and emotionally you just don't feel good because you're bloated. And then physically, you just don't feel so good because you look like you're 3 months pregnant. You got a beard belly. Also mentally, journaling. Journal every day, reflect. That's how you create self-awareness too. Reflect on your day. It's good for your mind too, to recall the things that you did throughout your day. It improves your memory. It increases your mood when you show gratitude. There's science behind that too. Showing gratitude is the most important thing ever, because then that also helps with depression. For those of you who are maybe struggling with depression, try to write down, if you can't do 5, do 2 things a day, what you're grateful about. Today I got up and I'm grateful for getting up. The heck? God did not have to do this for me. Like, what? So I'm grateful for getting up. I'm grateful for working out. I'm grateful for this podcast right now, this opportunity. Thank you guys. Don't kill me. Thank you. Yeah, so just showing gratitude. So that also helps you mentally. Because now you're thankful for your day. Now you can experience joy because you have things to be thankful for.
Yep.
So that's emotionally. So physically, know your habits, look at the cues, look at your cravings, look at your response, and then look at the reward that you get. Knowing the fact that if you want to work out, like physically, you can't just say, I want to work out. Like that's, what is that? You need to have a plan. You need to have a plan. Like I'm telling you, you need to have like a schedule that works. Like if you're somebody that, you're busy and you can't do like this, like Tevin, 2 workouts a day, you don't have time for that. Like what you could do is you can have a workout that is meaningful, that's going to work. As long as you're working out at the certain body group that you want, then focus on that. But also prep your mind, prep your environment. So what I do is I prep my environment. So I put like a sports bra on the back of my chair, and I get like a legging, or I get like a workout outfit or whatever. But it's mostly for me, and maybe ladies, you'll see that for you is the sports bra. When I was playing basketball, the ball, just having the ball right there, just looking at the ball, it's looking at me. It's looking at me. The ball's looking at me. I'm looking at the ball. Like, what? The ball's like, yeah, let's go. And I'm like, I don't want it. But it's also my mic too. Like when it comes to recording podcasts, like I have to have the mic there, and it's reminding me, you got work to do. Don't chill now. You got work to do.
That feeling you get when you tell yourself it's time to get to work. We can't be doing this. Like we have to be working. That feeling you get, I know the exact same feeling.
Yeah, and it's really hard. And I feel like sometimes we don't want to do stuff because we're thinking about all the work that we have to do. We're not thinking about the results. We're thinking about the work that we have to do. That's the problem I had with podcasts, was because I'm like, oh, I gotta edit. I gotta record. I gotta push record. I was thinking about all the stuff I have to do versus the results. And I get good results because once I'm done, I'm like, whew, I'm done. I feel productive. I love being productive. That's my number one thing. I love being productive. So I feel like we all love that. I feel like we love to feel accomplished at the end of the day. I like to lay my head down at the end of the day and be like, you know what? I did something pretty good today. And then rest. Instead of like, oh, I still have to do this, and that. You can't go to sleep. You're not sleeping. You're not sleeping, period. But I just feel like you're not. But I just feel like, prep your environment. That's one thing. That's one thing I learned from how to create a good habit. There's many steps. Yeah, I'm just gonna save you guys all of that. But yeah, I highly recommend the book. Honestly, changed my life.
Awesome.
Prepared she was, just pulled it out.
Just pulled out the whole list. this was only part A. We have part B, C, D, but we're not gonna like. That's different.
I saw pages. I'm like,
she had a whole booklet.
No, I got the book, and then I got the pages I printed out because he has resources, and he has a habit journal too, guys. You can track your habit.
Yo, she's prepared. This is experience right here, man. This has been literally, like, I thought me going on my own self-improvement journey was a little something. I did my own little thing. She has this and that. Like, wow, that's impressive. Any sort of like self-improvement, small changes one can do in the spiritual department? Because you guys touched upon all the other aspects. What about spiritual?
Okay, so I'm a Christian like Tevin. So for me, I have a journal that I just got, and I feel like it really breaks things down for me. So first I'll look at the scripture, I'll read it, then I have an observation, I write down like what stuck out to me, and then I apply it to my life, and then I have a prayer. So this is kind of like creating a habit of me making a prayer, writing it down. And I think it'll be kind of cool because next year I can look back at my prayers and then look at all the things that God answered. That's amazing. That's gonna connect me and God. Like, we're already like this, and we're gonna be like this, you know what I'm saying? So it's gonna be cool. So I'm excited. That made me excited. It's like one little geek thing right there. I'm geeking out. But also community. I know Kings got me to know F.E.M.P.S. F.E.M.P.S has like a thing that he does, like a devotion. So I go to that. I started my own women's group, God's Daughters. So if anybody's looking for a group, holla at your girl, Miss Industrious. So I started a group. They motivate me, and they show me some fire tracks. I used to listen to trap, rap, anything that rhymes with that. Like I love rhymes. Like I love it. That's how I met you, Ryan. Through the poetry slam. Like I love that stuff, right? But I don't listen to that music anymore because it's kind of like some of the stuff they say is like, why are you saying that? So now I have fire music that's like, it has no profanity. Like I could play it and like you can come in and it doesn't even matter. But it's still hard. It's still hard. I know
exactly.
Can I please play the song just a little bit?
Copyright. So I would say no, but you could refer.
I'm gonna send it to you. I'm gonna send it to you.
Thank you, because we gotta monetize this. Like, like here, your boy made a custom intro and open and in closing outro for the podcast, so we can have our own money. Like, gotta monetize that ish.
I'm just so
Yeah.
excited, guys. It's like actually so nice. So
This
like finding things that you like it's actually really hard to make the
Yeah.
transition from
it is.
listening to certain music and doing certain things and then making that transition. So just slowly making the transition and have grace for yourself, you know? Forgive yourself when you do slip up, when you do backslide, blase, you know?
See, ladies and gentlemen, this right here, this is passion. This is genuine passion for like loving what you do and just loving everything that you do right here. You can feel the passion from her voice and everyone's voices here tonight. See,
Yeah.
this is my saddest part of the podcast because we must bid everyone adieu. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Unlocking Your Potential Excellence. Thank you again, Miss Industrious Tiana, for joining us today and providing us with your wise words of wisdom. Any sort of promotions, we're gonna refer them all in the description, but any like big social promos, plugs, cheap sponsors, this and that you want to give to the good people right now.
Other than that, I just highly recommend that you invest in yourself, invest in Atomic Habits, invest in Compound Effect. Listen to podcasts like this. Like, it will build you up daily. It will feed your mind, feed your soul.
No gang signs, Tevin.
Yeah, right? Don't kill me. That's okay.
It's a different, but you see what I have to deal with every single day.
Yeah, that was fun. This was fun. Actually, I really enjoyed myself. At first, I was kind of nervous. I feel like I broke out of my shell. So I'm happy you guys, allowed me to do this, share my story, and share some of your wisdom with me too. I learned a lot from you guys, both of you. Yeah, so definitely got to reflect on this because I feel like we dropped a lot of key things that, we got to practice what we preach.
Yep. That's the funniest part about making content. You share all this knowledge and then you look back at it like, when was the last time I actually did that?
Yeah, you gotta practice what we preach. So, I'm gonna definitely look back at this and I don't have anything other than that. Follow me on Miss_Industrious. You can connect with me. I also have a podcast too. It'll be in the box.
It'll be linked everywhere, all over the place. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. Don't forget, good people all around the world, don't forget to like or give this a 5-star rating depending on whatever platform you're listening to, because we're international out here, you get me. Support Potential Excellence, support Miss Industrious, everywhere and anywhere. Potential Excellence now has a Patreon, so you can become a Patreon member filled with exclusive deals ranging from $5 to $50 a month. If you can't do that because you don't got the money, you can share this episode with someone you think needs to hear what we just discussed just now. Let us know what you thought about today's podcast in the comment section below. And with that being said, please never forget that you have the potential to be excellent, and subscribe to the Unforgettable Journey. Thank you, Mr. Industrious, for coming on. We appreciate you coming. Everyone, take care.
2019, we started something real special. Working hard every day to reach another level. I know it's evident, you feel that excellence. Just bring it all out and don't be hesitant. See, you're so wonderful in every single way. On a mission to be great, so move with no delay. Every single day you wake up, you're a king and queen. Shake it off, claim your crown, cause you're royalty.